To our first discussion, the Nigerian manufacturing sector is an economic sector that contributes approximately 10% to total gross domestic product each year. Despite the huge significant role the sector plays in terms of job creation and revenue generation in the sector, it's faced with myriads of challenges which is affecting manufacturing activities across the country. Now, notwithstanding the incentives given by government to encourage more output in the sector, manufacturers say challenges such as epileptic power supply, poor infrastructure, policy somersaults, forex scarcity, amongst others, are hampering their operations, hereby altering their revenue base. Well, let's talk more about this and have the right person to talk about this, who will be joining us via Zoom to assess the state of Nigeria's manufacturing sector amid current macroeconomic realities in the country. The Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Mr. Segun Ajayi Kadri, joins me now via Zoom. Thank you so much, DG. It's good to have you on the show today.
Thank you again for having me. It's good to see you, Tolu.
Yes, same here, DG. DG, let's start off our discussion with the just released MPC figures. We've looked at many angles to this, and I see that there is a release signed by you reacting to this. How does it affect manufacturers, and where do you stand in all of this, looking at this move by the central bank monetary policy?
Yes, thank you very much again. It's been quite challenging times for manufacturing, as you know, since the beginning of the year, when the impact of the Russian-Ukraine war started to tell on business around the world. The Nigerian economy was not insulated from the challenging fallout. The price of diesel, the electricity, the collapse of the grid twice or thrice in the first quarter of the year. So the outcome of the MPC came more like a surprise to us, because in the last 2 years, we have seen some consistency in terms of the NPR. And at a time, we were expecting that we will have some more relief in terms of access to credit. We are having the CBN increasing the NPR to 13.5%, up from 11.5%. So for us, I think it means that we are going to notice intense pressure in terms of even existing loan facilities that we have with our members, which will obviously be reviewed upwards. We're also going to see an escalation of the high level of inventory that we run, because the disposable income of the average Nigerian in the first instance has declined. Now we are going to have their capacity to access loans, which they can use to purchase household items and manufactured goods, is now going to be affected, because they will have to borrow at higher costs. We're also going to see that idle capital assets, it will become quite more, and then we are going to have the input of manufacturing industries increase in terms of price. This is going to translate, obviously, to the price of the products that we are going to sell, and further deepen the low capacity utilization in the industries. So in essence, I think it's going to have a negative impact on the performance of the sector. You should also note that since the first quarter of the year, we have continued to notice that we are having that we are having a deceleration in the performance of the sector and the rate at which it is growing. It is actually dwindling.
Start this conversation one way or the other. We've talked so much about forex and other issues manufacturers face, so that I don't sound like a broken record. Power supply, high cost of diesel and all of this. But I want us to stay now with even the Russian and Ukraine crisis, which has also affected movement of some products and of course some raw materials that your members might be using. How has this also affected the manufacturing sector?
Well, there are perennial challenges that have just refused to go away. And many people didn't anticipate that the Ukraine-Russian war was going to persist up to this time. We also, so we didn't anticipate that the more than 70 billion naira that we spend on diesel and providing alternative source of power would link. We didn't also anticipate that we are not going to get a positive response from the central bank on prioritizing allocation of forex to the manufacturing sector. So all this is playing out and entering into the second quarter when political activities promises to take away the attention of government functionaries away from effective management of the economy. So the sector is still struggling under these challenges, and so there is need to immediately take measures, as we've been advocating, to put the economy first rather than to concentrate on political activities that do not, that takes attention of the major political actors away from what should normally have been their job.
But government would say that a lot is being done to ease the environment, and one of this is infrastructure, which of course you need for smooth manufacturing and distribution of goods and services across the country. What is your assessment of this, and what more do you think can be done in specifics that would actually help the manufacturing sector create jobs and not make our manufacturers leave Nigeria for neighboring countries?
Yes, government is doing a lot in terms of infrastructure development. The problem is that it is not enough, and government should do more. If you take, for instance, in the allocation of forex, there is need for the manufacturer to have enough forex to be able to purchase raw materials, spares, and machines that they need to produce. In terms of electricity supply, the eligible customer scheme that should not have amounted to any cost burden on government should have been allowed to operate unhindered. Manufacturers are maximum demand customers who should be able to access the eligible customers. In fact, we are the target. So that scheme is not allowed to operate is amazing. And so NEC and relevant government institutions should ensure that this policy, this scheme that will favor manufacturers in the sense that we'll be able to get power at a reduced rate. We are going to have some constant supply, and even we are going to invest a lot in the infrastructure that will bring the power to our industry. So it should have been a win-win situation for both government and the manufacturing sector. We have also seen a situation where credit facilities to the manufacturers. There are several windows of opportunities for us to access credit schemes by the central bank, which we have continued to inform that manufacturers are not getting adequately. We have asked that we should be involved in the process of monitoring how these funds are allocated, especially those ones that are specifically launched for the manufacturer. We have also seen the multiplicity of taxes and levies especially now that there is a lot of, there's an attempt by all tiers of government to rake in more revenues, both the federal, the state, and the local government. The manufacturers are feeling the pain, in the sense that you cannot even have an issue determine what your tax obligation will be. So, those are, there are quite a number of issues that we have been engaging government on, but I think it's just that we needed to see some traction in those regards.
Politicking is already on the fall. We've seen political parties having their primaries and all of that, and we see that governance is shifting that way. How do you see this affecting the sector moving forward? There are some projections that we had before now, IMF, World Bank. There have been re-projections considering the realities on ground. Now, looking at Nigeria's case in particular, so what are you thinking as we move on to 2023?
Well, politicians, we always play politics, and we are in the season. But I think we need to put the interest of the nation first. And when you are talking of national interest, the economy should trump every other thing. Well, I think the reverse is what we are noticing, that politics is trumping every other thing. So it behoves the Nigerian public, particularly the operators in the private sector, to continue to draw the attention of government to the need, because we have quite a number of social ills that are being fired by neglect of the economy. The insecurity situation that we are having, especially in the Northeast. One continues to wonder why, when you, for instance, leave the camps where they are being kept, and they are made to go back to their houses and to their communities, what are they going to be doing there? If we do not revive the economic activities there, particularly the manufacturing activities, they will simply get back, not have anything to do, and then either go back to being insurgents and join the bandits and so on, or they will go into other social ills. So I think that there is really the need for us to prioritize all those issues that surround productivity. I think politics should be played, yes, but it should not be at the expense of the economy.
All right, there. It's a good way to leave it there. I've been speaking to the DG CEO of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Mr. Ajayi, Segun Ajayi Kadri. Thank you so much, DG, for your time on the show. We appreciate you for making us understand many of these issues. Do enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend.
It's always nice to be with you, Tolu. Thank you.
Thank you so much, DG.